Hey guys, it's Drea. So I have a video for you that is all drugstore affordable products. I don't know why I've been more focused lately on drugstore stuff, but I feel like that's the case on my channel. I feel like I've been bringing you a ton of drugstore videos, and I just wanted to do like a full face of drugstore makeup, but I wanted to kind of focus it within a budget. So this is a full face for under $60. Now, just for the sake of consistency, I'm using US pricing because in Canada, some of these products I got online and they are only in US, and you know, with exchange, it's just the whole thing, okay? So I'm just gonna focus on US pricing for the sake of this one video, but I wanted to do this because I wanna show you kind of how you can multi-purpose products and stay within a budget. I also didn't want it to be like all dollar store makeup, you know what I mean? I wanted to pick stuff that you're gonna find at a regular drugstore, and drugstore pricing is getting kind of expensive lately, so I wanted to keep it realistic. I didn't want to do it so ultra super dirt cheap, but I wanted to keep it pretty realistic. So let's start out with one of my favorite foundations. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation. Mine is in the shade Soft Beige. This is a wonderful foundation whether you're looking like in the high-end spectrum or drugstore or whatever. It's just across the board a really, really good foundation, especially if you have oily skin. It does smell like paint, but on the skin it feels perfectly fine. It's not drying or anything like that. I've used a brush before, but I tend to go with a beauty blender for almost all foundations lately. This is, I would say, a good medium coverage. It's not full coverage. It still gives you a pretty natural skin-like finish, but it does really control oil. So if you are oily, you'd probably like this a lot. And you'll probably notice I skipped primer. I just have still not found a drugstore primer that I love that really does anything. And the Wet n Wild foundation does last a really long time on the face, whether you're using primer or not. This is going to be my one cheat, only because not everybody's going to need a color corrector. I do. I definitely need a color corrector for my dark circles before I go in with concealer. Most people won't, so for most people it's still going to be a full face under 60, but this is a $6 color corrector from Hard Candy from Walmart. So if you do need to color correct, this is a really great option. It works so well. It's very hydrating. It's like the perfect shade. Like, look at how good that looks. And then I'm going to go in with the new ColourPop No Filter Concealer. This is in the shade Light 20. This has a really super flexible paddle-shaped wand. I really like the shape of the wand. I've only used this, I think, maybe 3 times before, so I don't have a fully formed opinion on it, but for the most part, it's worked out pretty well for me. It's pretty creamy. It blends really nicely. It doesn't seem too excuse me, it doesn't seem to get dry on the skin or anything like that. So I've been liking it so far. I am not including tools in the under 60. I know some people are like complete wizards at budgeting for makeup and they can do that. But for me, I think most of us like are gonna have tools that we've already purchased at our disposal. So there's that. But this is a drugstore sponge. This is from Equate. I really, really like this sponge. See, I think it gives a really nice brightening effect. It really blends into the skin really well. Not bad, not bad. And I'm also going to use this as my eyeshadow primer today. So if you are on a budget and you don't necessarily want to go out and buy an eyeshadow primer, you can always use your concealer, definitely. But just remember, it really, really pays to set your eyeshadow primer, whether it's high-end or not, with like a light skin-colored eyeshadow or even your face powder. Just make sure you set it because you don't want your eyeshadow to crease and you don't want the concealer to crease on your eyes either. And speaking about face powder, I'm going to be using the Coty Airspun loose face powder. This is like $5.50. I think you can find it in most Walmarts. So before I bake, and I am going to bake under my eye, I'm just going to touch up, make sure there's no creasing at all. I haven't found this concealer to crease, but I always like to do that right before I put on my baking powder because I don't want to set any creases, you know what I mean? And then I'm just going to take my regular face powder brush and just put that all over the rest of my face to set my foundation. I'm going to be using the BH Cosmetics Modern Mattes eyeshadow palette today, but I'm going to be multi-purposing this palette. So I'm actually going to be using it for my eyebrows as well. So I'm going to go into this shade right here. And honestly, I hardly ever use powder to do my brows. So I did test it last night just to make sure that it was a good shade, and it's a perfect shade for me. So in a palette like this with so many colors, especially a lot of browns, you should be able to find something that will work for your brows as well, so you don't have to go out and spend another, I don't know, $5, $10 on a brow product. See, I'm pretty satisfied with that. I actually really like the way this looks. Whenever I use a brow powder or have used one in the past, I always find that it gives a much more natural looking eyebrow, where of course a pomade is going to give you that really carved out brow. This is kind of more similar to the results you would get with like a mini brow pencil though. So if you've never tried using a powder before, I would say give it a shot. You might like it. Okay, before I do anything, I'm just going to highlight my brow with this shade here, because usually if I don't highlight my brow right in the beginning, I will like completely forget to do it all together. So it's always a good practice for me just to do it first. So this is going to be a matte eye because these are all matte shades in this palette here. I want to do kind of a fall look, but I want it to be a little bit smoky and sultry, but I don't really want a lot of color today. So I think I'm going to start with this shade here as my transition shade. I'm going to take a little bit less of a fluffy brush and go into this shade of brown, which is just one over from the first one we used. And I'm going to put that just slightly lower than the transition shade, more into the crease. And I am always tapping off my brush before I go in with the color, just because I find it's a good practice to do that no matter what, because you can always go in with more product, but you can't take away product, and it's hard to blend when you've got way too much product on. And I think I want to deepen up that crease even more, so I'm going to go into this shade here, which is kind of a brownish burgundy. And I'm going to go just even slightly more low and right directly into the crease. I'm going to actually mix these two colors together. This is obviously a nice deep purple, and this is almost like a very deep plum, almost to black. So I'm going to mix both of those together, tap off my brush, and place that in where my outer V is going to be. And just create that V shape first with the product, and then we'll blend it out a little bit more. I'm really liking the way this is looking right now. I feel like it's very fall, smoky, sultry. I'm going to go in with this shade all over the lid. This is kind of like, I don't know, like a warm orangey brown. I'm just going to put that all over the lid. Matte shadows are so nice for the fall, aren't they? I feel like I have the opposite problem of a lot of people, which is I love playing in color so much that I forget how to do regular color, like regular neutrals. But when I come back to neutrals, or when I force myself to do neutrals, I end up really liking the result. So I was thinking about doing a liquid liner, but then it occurred to me that this palette does have a matte black. So if we can make this look even cheaper by using a matte black as a liner, I think that would be really good. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm just going to do like a smoky lash line. My favorite liner brush of all time is the Sigma E15. This is not a drugstore brush by any means, but I just love how thin it is. So it really gets in the lash line really well. I'm actually going to get a closer up mirror to do this. and just put that right up against the lash line at first, and then I'll smoke it out a little bit after I place the product. So again, I'm going to mix those two purples together on a pointed brush, and I'm going to put those right under the lash line. I am getting a little bit of fallout, but it should wipe away. I had to obviously wipe away that powder, so it's not there to catch the fallout anymore. And then in a little bit of a fluffier brush, I'm going to take some of that light brown and then blend that out. Just so I have a little bit of a smoky lower lash line, but I don't want to do anything too crazy here. So I have to say I really love the way the eyes turned out. Exactly what I wanted, just a nice smoky matte eye for fall. Very happy about that. I'm going to use this palette for one more thing because I was thinking last night about like all the face products I had to use and how expensive that can add up to be. But this shade right here is a pretty perfect contour color. So I haven't tried this yet. Hopefully this doesn't like ruin everything, but I'm going to try to contour it with this eyeshadow. I think it's not bad actually. Seems to blend out okay. I almost always like to go over my contour with the brush I use for face powder just to soften it a little bit. I don't know. I just find it helps to blend it out a little bit. So that's not bad actually. I think that worked out pretty well. So all in all, such a good versatile product to kind of bring down your cost when you're dealing with a full face of makeup. I'm going to go into a bronzer though, a real bronzer, because there's nothing in that palette I think really works. This is NYC Sunny. This is a super cheap, nice, blendable, really great bronzer. I almost always bronze my neck because I wear so much sunscreen on my neck because I'm afraid of aging that my neck almost never matches my face. So it's always very, very, very light, and I don't want to match my face to my neck because my face is already darker, so you know what I mean. It's a whole thing. By the way, if you're wondering, I got this headband at Forever 21. I know it makes me look like I'm 12 years old, but what can I say? I thought it was cute. It brings me joy. I only wear it when I put on makeup. It just holds my hair back. It's super cute. And these earrings are from H&M because I know I'm gonna get questions about that. Okay, so for blush, I'm gonna use this City Color Be Matte Blush. This is in the shade Blackberry. And I haven't used this in a long time, so I can't remember if it's super pigmented, if I need to be careful or not. I remember watching Bailey Sarian one time, and she takes her blush and she puts it kind of a little bit on her forehead, a little bit on her chin, and a little bit on her nose. And I remember doing it a few times and then I stopped, and I really liked the way it looked, so I don't know why I stopped. But I think it kind of just ties everything together. Hopefully it doesn't look super weird on camera. For highlighter, I'm going to use the e.l.f. This is called a Baked Blush, but it's actually a highlighter. It's in the shade Pinktastic. Now, I've heard some people hate these, some people love them. I personally love them. I've heard if you're not getting a good result to scrape off the top layer of it, but I mean, that shows up. Look at it. Before I do lashes and lips, I'm just going to set my brows, and this is using the Essence Make Me Brow. This is in the shade Soft Brownie Brows, and it's got some fibers in it. So especially if you're gonna do the eyeshadow powder method, this just kind of makes them look even more natural because it's giving a little bit of highlight to them and also adding some brow hairs for some dimension. I've always loved this product. It's a really, really great drugstore product. Now for lashes, obviously you can use whatever you like. These ones are super dramatic, but they're one of my cheapest pairs of eyelashes. I got these off of eBay. These are from China, from a brand called DreaCN, and the number is Y7, but they are super dramatic. I've worn them once before. I do like them a lot, but yeah, you have to be like okay with super dramatic lashes. If you don't want to do lashes, this is a great mascara. This is the Essence Volume Stylish Lash Extension Mascara, and this is my go-to on days where I want very, very long lashes, but I don't want to do false eyelashes. This gives you a lot of length. So I just want to show you the difference. This side is mascara, and then obviously this gigantic eyelash on this side. But if you're on a budget, obviously you can just do the mascara. And I wanted to show those of you that do love to use lashes how that would end up looking. So there's the difference for you. And I am including the lash glue in the total overall. This is Duo Lash Glue in the dark tone. I love Duo Lash Glue. I don't understand though, because on Sephora it's like $9, but in the drugstore it's like $4.99 or $5.99 depending where you buy it. So who knows, but I'm using the drugstore prices for that one. While I was planning this video, I did have a bunch of different lip options I probably could have gone with. Ultimately, I wanted to do kind of a bold fall lip, so I'm going to go with this one from Wet n Wild. This is the Liquid Catsuit in the shade Nice to Fuchsia. They're very punny, Wet n Wild. And this is the final look. So here's how everything turned out. I really, really love it. It's just like your very kind of everyday fall sultriness, but of course you could tone down the lashes and just leave those off completely. So I just did the math. The total for all of these products is $56.27, so very affordable. If you added in the color corrector, if you needed that, the total would be $62.27. And that is not including buy one get one free offers, buy one get one half off offers, percentage off offers, coupons. I'm sure we all know how to be smart shoppers at the drugstore, so it could definitely bring that total down even more further. But anyway, I hope that you found this really helpful. Let me know if you'd like to see more affordable drugstore videos in the future. I did have an idea to do like a full face of my cheapest makeup, so instead of doing like everything under $1 amount, I could pick one item from every category instead of having multi-purpose products and just talk about each of those particular cheapest products. So let me know if you'd like to see a video like that. But that's it for today. If you're new around here, definitely subscribe. I'd love to have you around in the future. I love you guys. I hope you're speaking kindly to yourself. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.